Welcome back to Hill Country Hustlers. I'm your host, Zachary Green, and today I am here with a special guest, Ed Villanueva from Helotes. He is a tax accountant, tax consultant with over 40 years experience and is a certified IRS agent. Did I get that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So he's going to share his story with us a little bit and maybe tell us how to handle our taxes a little better. We'll see.
We'll try.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming down. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I'm just going to get right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you got into this industry?
Sure. Be happy to. I'm from San Antonio, currently office in Helotes. I've been in San Antonio practicing for 35 years. You want to add another 5 years to it for the IRS, but I was all over San Antonio, Austin, Houston, and a little bit of Corpus Christi. But got into right after college, decided to go into I guess an inflationary or foolproof job, and chose the field of taxation, having an accounting and finance degree, and really enjoyed the niche. Taxation is a very unique niche.
Yeah.
And the thought of assisting business owners and individuals really caught my attention, especially after having been schooled by the one and only Internal Revenue Service.
Can you speak on that a little bit? Your time at the IRS, what was that like? And maybe what are some misconceptions people have about working for the IRS that you've run into?
You don't want to be on the other side of the desk from the IRS. I can tell you that can be rather a daunting experience for some, but the training was excellent, and the training lasted probably better than a year. And of course, there's continuing education year after that, year after year. However, it was quite the eye-opening experience in that there's a lot of things that go on in the tax world and financial world that are not discussed in the college world while earning your degrees. And so putting that experience, that on-the-job experience, with a theoretical experience you gain from the college courses was really an eye-opening experience for me. But I enjoyed the challenge. And after spending 5 years with him, I just decided that I had a little more to offer, or more that I wanted to see out of myself, and assisting taxpayers or individuals or businesses with furthering their endeavors. And that was very appealing to me. I gave it 5 years, and I've been on this side of the fence, say 35 years. And I, quite frankly, have never looked back, but I'm very appreciative for the work or the training that I received while at the IRS.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm sure it's helped a little bit now that you're on the other side of the desk, knowing the kind of ins and outs and how things turn there.
Most definitely. It comes in handy.
I bet. Whenever you made that switch, how did that go? Did you start off on your own right away? Did you find someone to help? What happened there?
I didn't jump off on my own. I had been, I guess you could say, recruited by a retired IRS agent. And this gentleman was very experienced, retired while he was and he spent time in management. I looked to him as a mentor, if you will. And after some discussion, we decided to partner up. And after we partnered up, we were off to the races, so to speak, in terms of business leads, people out there that needed the assistance of someone like us, trained IRS agents, now retired, and basically we really looked forward to assisting the taxpaying public in San Antonio and other cities with the knowledge that we had secured over the years. And we were able to successfully recruit or get hired, if you will, by folks that listened to us as we proceeded to advertise our services or offer our services via the radio stations in San Antonio.
Yeah, that's really cool. And this is your first time podcasting, right?
The very first time.
Nice. So big difference, or is it similar?
It's a little different than the talk radio that I'm accustomed to. Yeah. We're talking back in the early 90s. This is the last time I did this, but it was basically a situation where I wrote a small script for a 30-second or a minute spot advertising our services, and then that spot would run and the phone would ring with potential clients, and that was very interesting. But in a tax time, we would be sitting with someone like yourself. In that case, it was a DJ, a well-known DJ, and we would play a question and answer session regarding the tax issues of the year or tax changes, if you will,
Yeah.
for the year. And that was very interesting. And I used to do that, not necessarily in the studio, but actually would be in my office and just over the phone. And the DJ would be at the radio station. So that was
That is
very
cool.
interesting. Yeah.
Wow. So whenever you started, you said you had the desire to kind of help people with their taxes now, get on the other side of the desk. And I'm pretty sure that is not the only way you've helped people in the Helotes community. From what I hear, you're very involved. You told me a couple things. You've even been mayor for a little bit. So,
Well, yeah, I was fortunate enough to be elected to city council back in 2008, and I was successfully elected 4 more times, for a total of 5. And during that time of 10 years, or tenure of 10 years, I was Mayor Pro Tem of the city of Helotes, and I truly enjoyed that experience. I guess it's just part of what I decided to do in terms of civic service outside my normal work. And I found it very gratifying to help the citizens of Helotes during those years.
yeah, I'm kind of new on my civic duty journey, I'd say. Still building myself up there, but I have come to realize it is very important, not just to the business, but to myself. And I've seen myself grow a lot from it.
Yes,
And
you definitely will. It's very gratifying.
Yeah.
And I've been out of that position for some years now, but never fails. On the street, I may run up into somebody that I knew while I was on council, and they're asking me why I'm still not there. I can only give so much of my time away. But again, for the time I was there, I enjoyed it. And I appreciate someone coming in years later saying, hey, I remember you and thanks for what you did for our community. And if the opportunity presented itself, once again, I might jump back in there, but I'm not quite sure.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to shoot for city council, but that is cool. I will say that is really cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to get now more into what you're doing now, cover the background kind of. So what do you mostly handle? Is it just tax, or April 15th coming up, people rush to you, or do you work around the clock or around the calendar? Like, how does that, what do you see most of?
We see just throughout the year individuals that have IRS debt or have received a notice from the IRS regarding an examination issue or an audit, if you will. And we also, from time to time, will experience visitors that are involved perhaps in a criminal investigation case that IRS has initiated. So those things occur all year round. But behind the scenes on a day-to-day basis, we do provide accounting services for businesses. For example, bookkeeping, payroll service, tax planning. And then, of course, you have, I like to call it 2 cycles of tax preparation, or 2 tax seasons within the year. And I say that only because we have an initial tax season, which typically is January to April 15th. And then for those that seek extensions, we'll continue working on those returns all the way through either September 15th or October 15th, whatever the case may be. But so we're busy quite year round. And then typically in the months of November and December, we will be fielding calls from potential new clients that have gotten their damage reports from their tax returns, and they're maybe wanting to make some adjustments, seek other advice, or have an issue with having to pay that bill that they were just handed by their previous preparer. So it's a little bit of everything, but we do our best to keep up with all the services. And it's just not a tax season, issue around my office. But we take great pleasure in assisting the public, and we do get people not only from San Antonio but surrounding cities, and we do a lot of things long distance, if you will, but we enjoy the work.
Yeah.
We do enjoy what we do.
Carville's not very long distance from Helotes.
No, it's not.
I'm guessing you mean a little further there.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
well,
I do. I've had clients in Kerrville. In fact, I have 2 from Kerrville at present.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's good. And so, wanted to change gears a little bit.
Sure.
Talk about Helotes. So what are some of the biggest challenges for the business community in Helotes, and specifically the smaller businesses?
Helotes has grown considerably in the past 20 years. There was a lot of homes that went up in the 20 years. Very little commercial. There's very little room for commercial development, actually, other than what's on Highway 16 or Bandera Road, just outside 1604 in our city limits. So it's somewhat limited. We just don't see a lot of new businesses coming in. Again, simply because there's not a lot of commercial zoning within. But I will say this, the community as a whole, there's quite a bit of money in a per capita household basis. When I was on council, I was able to see a lot of other comparable size municipalities, like for example, Leon Valley, where we knew what their per capita household income was versus Helotes. And quite frankly, Helotes has a higher per capita household income level than most municipalities our size. But in terms of the development, I think for the most part, people from Helotes that have been there for 20 years plus would rather keep it a bedroom community than allow it to flourish into a commercial. But there again, that's one reason that commercial has not expanded. But it is again limited room for expansion in commercial sense. Years ago, when I was on council, we took it upon ourselves to redraw a map, if you will, and create a buffer of land around the Helotes city limits. And we did with the assistance of the city of San Antonio, and to where we could, for example, for future generations, if we wanted to bring in hotels, we are poised to house hotel or hotels and generate that revenue stream from hotel taxes if we need be to funnel into the budget, capital budget. And those monies, once you understand how municipalities operate in their budgeting components, those could be used to fund new equipment, let's say for the police department or fire department personnel, like police officers or fire personnel. During our term there, we embarked on creating a dispatch center where we had not had one, and expanded our fire department to include the ambulatory services rather than contracting for ambulatory services through a private company. So those sources of revenue, although they're not there now, could be there in the future to meet the needs of the budget and provide city services. So this is something that we saw potentially coming down the pike with the growth that we were experiencing in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
We're just trying to position the city properly for that for another round of anticipated growth.
Yeah, San Antonio is really creeping up too.
Sure,
It's an eyesight pretty much.
Yeah. So when we formed that buffer, basically what we did was we did what other smaller municipalities could not do or did not foresee. For example, Leon Valley. Leon Valley was not the council people or administration at that time did not embark on the same process we embarked upon. Again, that is to create a buffer around our existing city limits, so that, let's say, the city of San Antonio wasn't creeping up right on their doorstep. And you do that, in our estimation, because you want to bring in that hotel and create that revenue stream from the hotel tax, or you want to bring in that restaurant, or you want to bring in that gas station and collect sales tax revenue. Again, those are things that we had in mind and wanted to protect before the city of San Antonio continued to creep up around the city of Helotes.
Yeah.
So it allows annexation. Steps need to be taken at some future date for future councils, but it's there for the taking, if you will. And I think it was a good move on the part of our council makeup.
Yeah, that's really cool. That was interesting to hear a deep dive on that.
Yeah.
I never really heard anything like that, city limits and stuff.
Yeah.
That's neat.
I got another one.
Sure.
You want it? Okay. This is a two-part. If the people of Helotes could collectively speak in one word or a sentence, say, we want this as a community, what would that be? And then the second part is, what would that be if it was, what would that answer be if it was through your lens of your industry?
Good
Does that
question.
make sense? From a tax services standpoint in Helotes, Texas, what would the people say they need specific to your industry? And then what would they say they need just in general?
I think in general terms, more businesses, I think, would like to come into Helotes. Again, I think most realize that, again, the household income levels are a little higher. So there's more disposable income, which obviously will support different types of business coming in. And I think that because of the limitations on zoning in the commercial district. They choose not to. Cost may be another consideration for acquiring the land. But for the citizens of Helotes, I know they would like to see more commercial come in. I definitely know that. As to who, what, that's left to be decided. But I do know that we have quite a few restaurants in Helotes that have come in. And I think people want more of a variety of restaurants to come in. And I get that. But again, that's kind of difficult to gauge or plan for. If someone comes in and they follow the rules of the zoning and the construction and all that, obviously we can't deter them. But we welcome a lot of folks to Helotes, and have so over the, and I'd probably say we've seen a 40% growth in commercial structures. And again, I think I know another restaurant that's coming in here very soon. But shopping malls, not malls, I would say strip centers, if you want to call it that. There's one that's slated to come in at a very crucial intersection up along Highway 16. I don't know why the delay is, but in any event, that would bring a variety, according to what I read and saw at a council meeting, a variety of tenants. And I don't recall all of them right now, but I think people would like to see that. But again, the city of Helotes, the per capita household income being the way it is and probably growing, I can foresee them just allowing more commercial to come in, a certain variety. But I'd like to see, from where I sit, I'd like to see those business owners come in and talk to Mr. Villanueva about his services, selfish reasons, and how I can help them save money and reinvest in their businesses. So from that angle, yes, I'm all about the reinvestment and procuring what their vision of whatever their business is in our particular market. I think we got a very unique market. And I look forward to what's going to happen in the next coming 20 years. But we do have quite a bit of residential growth, have had that. But I think just like any other municipality, you must find a balance between the taxation or revenue streams, like taxes on property for homeowners versus taxes on businesses, when that would include property taxes on structures, sales tax generation on the sales, etc., franchise taxes, things of that nature. Again, all feed into the annual budget of a municipality. Again, to further strengthen the services, city services offered.
Yeah,
it's complicated, but it's also, there's a lot of room for interpretation and as to who wants to come in and do they fit.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of growth going on in Helotes. You can kind of tell when you go through, but I really like the Old Town area, like where your office is at and by Floors. That place is really cool.
That location there, that property being maybe 70 yards from Floors is very, very noticeable, if you will. That old Bandera Road has got a lot of history attached to it. That was our central market or downtown area, if you will, many years ago. I remember years ago when the Helotes Carnival, which is an annual event, used to take place on the street right there in front of the building and the property all the way down to Floors. And people to this day still talk about it and I wished it was still there. But quite frankly, the Festival Association there has done a great job in expanding the 4-day event, and it needed a bigger venue to house it.
That's good.
But yeah, that was where it all started.
Yeah,
a lot of things have started there besides Willie Nelson's career at Floors Country Store.
So next time you go to Floors, make sure to park at Villanueva's parking.
I'm sure.
Kidding.
Parking is free.
Oh man, I really appreciate you coming down. I wanted to give you one last shot to kind of give a sales pitch or just preach your business and your services real quick to the camera, and maybe kind of elevator pitch is what I'll say.
Oh, sure. Again, as we said before, Ed Villanueva Associates has been around since 1991, and it was spent many a year in the medical center, relocated to my property there in Helotes on Old Bandera Road, just down the street, as you said, from Floors. And no, I don't get to hear the music from Floors. It's directional at night, but we're conveniently located in the center of Old Town. And there we have a lot of great businesses up and along the corridor there. That corridor was given an injection of capital years ago while on council, and it is what it is now. And I believe we have a growing number of tenants moving in there and throwing down stakes. And I look forward to assisting those businesses up and down in Old Town, as well as all of Helotes, and more so those that have followed me from San Antonio in that era, being in the medical center. But once again, we stay pretty busy year round with the tax business. Accounting never ends. Taxes will never end, I don't think. But we do have a great time. We stayed small intentionally. I really never had any plans on becoming a big firm, although opportunities presented themselves over the years. But I like to keep the business small so as to give our clients a time of day, unlike some others. But I do believe in keeping it to a personal level, a manageable level. And in our office, in our firm, my employees and I take great pleasure in servicing the existing clients and seek out to assist other new clients wherever they may come from, even as far as at Kerrville. But we do love what we do, and I think you can't go wrong if you love your job and what you do. And so I invite anybody to give us a call at our office here, again in Helotes, and I hope to be around for many years, and we'll be happy to field any phone calls you may have. Our consultations are free. Our initial consultations are free. I want to stress that. And once we had an opportunity to meet and take our time and get to know one another and identify their needs, hope to establish a good, long, lasting business relationship. That is my goal. That is the goal of my staff.
Nice. I like that. I think that's the best way to do business.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if y'all have any tax questions or problems, hopefully not, but give Ed Villanueva a call or go visit him. He's in an awesome spot in the heart of Helotes, right by Floors. Some great food around the area too. So, yeah, make sure to reach out. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.